One thing when you come to Wyoming, especially in November, you know you're going to be dealing with cold, you're going to be dealing with wind, you're going to be dealing with snow. Who knows? In September, I was here archery hunting. It was hot, it was windy. Well, here's the deal. When I came here on the archery hunt, my whole idea was if I saw a really nice bull, I'd probably shoot him. But since my buddy Pat Schmitt from Wisconsin was coming out with a tag, and I had a tag, I was scouting more than I was hunting. And as you saw, I had a few close encounters. I probably could have shot a smaller bull in archery season, but hey, I'm still hunting. That's the fun part. I would suspect that in Wyoming, in a 5-day elk hunt, you're gonna lose 2 of them to wind, maybe 3. You just never know. And so when we start setting our camp, Pat and I are talking about, the weather forecast does not look good. On day 2, it looks to be 30-mile-an-hour winds. Day 3, 50-mile-an-hour winds. Day 4, maybe it's gonna slow down a little bit. Day 5 looks like a complete blizzard. This is my 3rd time hunting this unit, and every time it's a weather disaster. 4 years ago, I had to chain up all 4 just to go and rescue my camp, tow my trailer out through these terrible, just rotten roads, big snow drifts, great big, like, creek bottoms. It was bad. And then 2 years ago, I was here with my buddy Mike Spitzer, and the wind just howled and howled and howled. But somehow, on both of those hunts, all tags got filled. Well, Pat, first morning.
Let's give her.
Give her, huh? I like that. We're just gonna walk up this road, up on these ridges and glass.
Yeah, which one are we gonna get on top of over there?
Right up where this road goes around where that little notch is there, and walks right up to a big saddle.
All right.
Cool. So one thing about our public land elk hunts, you'll notice that it's into the hills before the sun comes up and back to the truck long after the sun is down. And day 1, that's really how it was. We were already, I don't know, hour and a half down the trail before it was legal shooting light. This is that trail those elk took in archery season. We were over at a wallow over here. We had our boots off, laying under a tree, and we could hear elk coming from right here. They crossed over. There's a wallow right to the east of us here. About 90 elk walked right in on us. The closest bull was 18 yards. And I got my boots off. We climb up and we keep going and going, and we get up on these ridges and look down, and there's a bunch of private ground that is adjacent to this unit. And we look out there and there's just a big herd of elk. We dropped off the other side of these ridges and we got down there. And on our way there, we can hear bugling and cow calling. We're talking like November 16th or something like that. And there's bugling going on, and I looked at Pat and he looked at me, and we're thinking, is this for real?
I go back up to these rocks here.
And we find the only little rock among all these pine trees that gives any semblance of a shooting situation, and we just wait. And out in the sage in front of us, there are so many elk. It's just a crazy number of elk. But every once in a while, here'd come a string of cows, 20, 30 cows, run out there and join them, and there'd be a bull in there. And since it's the first morning, Pat's looking at me like, should I shoot him?
I wish I could see another bull.
If you don't want him, that's fine. There he goes, he's coming right through that gap down there.
I'm passing on him. You want him, he's yours.
We'll wait and see what that other one is. It's one of those things where there are so many elk, and it's the first morning, all you can think of is, man, this is gonna be a slam dunk. So you and one camera go up and check out this bugle. I'm gonna take the other camera and go down to this rock pile I got on the slab. If you guys shoot and these ones start moving, I wanna be out there. All right, okay? I'll meet you down there. Or if I hear you shoot, I'll come back up here.
I've seen more elk that day than I have ever seen before. And I told Randy, I only seen that many elk on TV. And I said, probably the only time I'll ever see that many elk again was on TV. I mean, it was unbelievable. I just never experienced anything like that. I mean, the next 3-4 hours was just incredible to see that many elk. It was something I'll never forget. And that right there made the hunt. I told Randy, if I don't even get if I don't get an elk out of this, just being there that first day was worth it.
Leupold's Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg is brought to you by Leupold Optics, Go Hunt Insider, changing how hunts are found, Kenetrek Boots for the trail less traveled, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and by Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. We call the game.
Those elk kept crossing and crossing, and they would go in bed right on what is the property line. There's no fences on this property line, so you better be damn sure where that elk is if you're gonna shoot one. And pretty soon it grew into this bundle of elk. I'm guessing it was 500 to 600 elk. There were no huge bulls in there. There were a couple of really nice bulls that either Pat or I would have shot. And so we sat there and waited and waited and waited. And unfortunately, some ranch hands on the ranch that is private start pushing some cows up the drainage. And I think that the elk saw that, and they all stood up and they're all looking forward, ears cocked this way, looking right at those cowboys, even though they're at least 3/4 of a mile away. Big herd of elk like that, someone's gonna see them. And after about 10 minutes of looking at those cowboys, those elk turned, went further into private, never to be seen again. And Pat and I kind of talked to each other like, how in the heck can we have 600 elk in front of us and we don't even fire a shot? Something doesn't equate there. But when that's your first day, you're thinking, well, man, this is gonna be so easy. We're just gonna wait and cherry pick. Well, those of you who hunt public land elk, no, don't ever take anything for granted. So I think what we're gonna do, since this wind is picking up and it's getting cold, we're probably gonna grab our junk and let them keep moving on to private, not disturb them. And we're gonna hunt our way out of here tonight because those bachelor groups are up on these ridges and we just gotta find one in a little pocket and shoot it.
You know, to sit there and watch all that going on. Elk just chasing each other around, bugling, cow calling, something I never ever thought I would ever hear or see in November, and never have before until this hunt.
Here's my theory. They're calling for winds to 45 by this evening. Winds 50 tomorrow. I don't think I'm tough enough to hunt in 50-mile-an-hour winds when it's 20 degrees out. So how about we kill 2 elk today?
Yeah, I think a couple of those bulls we passed yesterday may not be quite as lucky today.
So the second day, we got up and the wind is screaming and it's cold. It's like 22, 23 degrees. And I told Pat, I said, you know what? I want to make this big loop and see if there's a road that we could retrieve an elk from if we did shoot an elk back there where we saw those ones the day before, because as it was going to be one way, probably 4.5 or 5 miles to get that elk out. You start talking 4 trips to get an elk out, and yeah, that hurts. And so we walked this road and we walked this road, and I'm thinking, Pat's probably looking at me saying, Newberg is lost. But finally we end up back where we were. It took us a long time. And in the process, we bumped one bull elk and he just takes off running. And that day we sat there and sat there and sat there and tried to stay warm. Built a fire, the wind's blowing, throw more stuff on the fire. No elk came by. And we decided, well, we better hike out of here. We're gonna give ourselves some time to start hiking, see if we can bump something on the way. And walked out, and it was well past dark, probably an hour past dark by the time we got to the truck. Nothing. So here we are, we go from seeing 600 elk one day to just the butt and antlers of an elk the next day. You talk about peaks and valleys.
That's too big for a coyote, Pat. I'd say there's other elk hunters in here.
Yeah.
The Canis lupus type. But Wyoming has lost their wolf season due to some ridiculous court battle. So.
Here comes the bad part, is we'd looked at the weather forecast for day 3 when we got here, and it was supposed to be really windy. And so we're on a knob over by our camp, and we could get some service and fired up the phone, and yeah, 50+ mile-an-hour winds for day 3.
So what we're gonna do, Pat, we get up here, we're gonna glass all those pockets back there that are little pockets just like this. But it's gonna be a windy mother. We're gonna have to find a rock to hide behind. Come out, look until you can't stand it anymore, run back behind the rock, and then the next guy takes a shift. But in this wind, that's all you can do.
50+ mile-an-hour winds for day 3. But we gotta hunt, you know, you only got so many days, and so we bundled up, climbed up on these other ridges where I'd hunted before. And we would try to get out of the wind. We'd try to stay warm. But what we did is we built a big fire right behind a pile of rocks. And the wind was just cutting right over our heads. And you'd sit there and you could glass out in front of you. But to glass behind you, you'd have to climb up on those rocks. And you could last about 5 minutes maybe in that wind, if that. And then you'd have to come back down to the fire. And we waited and waited, and then the snow started. It started snowing so hard you couldn't see the trees 20 yards away. And it did that for about 3 hours. And then right before dark, it cleared off and the wind was still blowing, but Pat and I looked at each other and we said, you know what? If it gets cold tonight when it's clear, tomorrow could be the day. Tomorrow could be it. After that really windy, terrible day 3, Pat and I got up and it's cold. It's like single digits. We're thinking, man, what are we gonna do to stay warm today? And we start hiking back up the ridge to that rock that we sat behind in the wind of day 3. And we stop and we look back towards our truck where it's parked at the trailhead. And
Pat, I know this looks weird, but that thing you pointed out there, I think those are bulls.
Yeah, I think they are too.
You let me walk all the way up this hill before you decided that there were bulls back there by the
You
truck.
need to get warmed up.
No, I think there's 3 of them up there. You ready to put your walking shoes on?
They're always on.
I've noticed that.
Well, it's a good day to get this done because tomorrow's weather forecast looks like
Blizzard. Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Complete
Today
whiteout
could be the
blizzard.
last day anyways.
Yeah.
we've got them. I'm thinking to myself, Pat and I should just notch our tags right now, just get that out of the way, because these elk, you can see them on the horizon about 1,000 yards away. And as quick as they drop off, we're gonna sneak in there, and man, we're just boom, boom, we're gonna have 2 elk so fast. Well, good thing I didn't notch my tag.
You run too fast. Let's go. These are fresh elk tracks. Inside out, let's go. Let's get them, don't wait for me.
This is a lesson that I want every viewer to think about. And I know better because I've hunted elk for so long. But we got in a hurry. We got in a hurry because we thought these elk might blow over the other ridge, and if they went out there, they're gonna run across the prairie and we'll never see them again. These elk are up on this bench and they start feeding down into this, on the face of this bench. We're coming up from here. And instead of getting up above them, like I know I should have, like any smart elk hunter would, I let the camera guy and Pat, I'm like, go, 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 they might get out of here, just go. Instead, I should have slowed down and said, guys, let's go up on top. And we didn't go up on top. And so we come up from just not quite at their elevation, slightly below, I mean maybe 30 feet in elevation. And we look and there's just antlers going through the timber in front of us, 70, 80 yards. I'm like, no, Randy, you idiot. They're gone. Damn it. You're far. How did we screw that up? God dang it, Randy. You know better than that. You have to go above them. We've worked this hard. Here's this opportunity. There's 6 bulls. So all Pat and I could do is just, look at each other. I'm sure Pat looked at me and said, Randy, I thought you knew something about this elk hunting stuff. When you can come in above elk for shooting angles, for filming angles that we need, you do it. You never come in below. I told Pat, you stay up here and glass those bulls and watch where they go. And I'm gonna run down, go to the trailhead. I'm gonna grab the truck and I'll pick you guys up down here along the road. And if they go where I think they're gonna go, I've hunted there before, I've killed the bull over there. Let's just jump in the truck, drive over to that other trailhead. It'll maybe be a mile walk and we'll be set up in front of the elk if they're still coming that way.
Well, Pat, those bulls might have put the slip on us once, but my good friend Walt Pritchard says, they don't know what we know. And what we know is they're somewhere in this basin, or we hope. They took off, so we walked back to the truck and got in the truck and drove to another trailhead about 3 or 4 miles away. Hopefully they'll walk to us. Oh, look at them right there.
It's the greatest fire drill we've ever had in 8 years of producing outdoor TV. Never have we had a situation where we're doing an interview, talking about what we're gonna do, and all of a sudden the elk read the script and walked right into the frame. We just threw our stuff down. Pat runs up to this little pile of sage and brush and he's like, give me a range, and I click it and it's 330. And there's 1 bull now in the trees, 1 bull half in the trees, at least from my angle, and 1 bull in the wide open. He's shooting the one in the open. Yep.
I think I hit.
Yeah, I think you did.
And I'm thinking to myself, did this really happen? Is it possible that I could have screwed something up so bad in the morning and some good fortune or just experience of having hunted here before was enough to get us in front of these elk as they were crossing where they normally cross? I just, like, holy cow. It never goes that well. But it did.
Couldn't have went far. Couldn't have
blood kind of, yeah, blood stopped a little bit, but there he is right there.
Huh?
Right there. Right there.
Nice shot, Pat. 330 yards.
I finally got one with the rifle.
Yeah, you've shot them with bows and
Muzzle loaders, and
now with a rifle.
everyone thinks the rifle's got to be so much easier because it's a rifle, but I tell you what, this is one of the, this is harder than most bow and muzzleloader and stuff, huh?
We talk about have to work for it. The weather's conspired against us, the wind. We're supposed to have a severe blizzard tomorrow, which is probably going to be whiteout conditions as far as any type of hunting. Congratulations, buddy.
Things went real high to real low again, but in the end, things worked out just fine. We had a good chance at a good bull this morning. Things didn't work out, but in the end, everything came together, and I got to hunt with a good friend I've been wanting to hunt with for a long time. I got to put meat in the freezer for my family, and it just ended up being a really good time. And that's what it's really all about, coming out here and doing this, you know, coming out and having fun, going hunting, spending time with friends.
And seeing Pat with that smile on his face, no matter the conditions, windy, snowy, cold, whatever, it was a reminder of, Randy, that's what hunting's about. That is why you hunt. You hunt for the pleasure of hunting. You hunt for the food. You hunt for all those things. But a big part of it is, this is my world. The natural world is my world. This is where I want to be. I want to be here with a rifle in hand, a pack on my back, and a tag in my pocket.